Yes, meeting Zoom, preparing to live stream the meeting. That's the message I just got.
And it says you're up on my end.
Are we up? Are we up and happening? Okay.
Yeah, it says it's live streamed.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the Worldwide Slot Car Chat number 192. Oh my gosh. I am your substitute host, John Kitt, and we're here to talk slot cars. So lately we have been starting off with a topic, and another sort of interesting topic that has been floated around that we could discuss before we get into the usual departments of our meeting would be I guess the structure, Dewan, is that a good description of how we would do a worldwide slot car chat proxy race? And if I haven't got that right, by all means, jump in and correct me, please.
This is a preliminary, very, very, very preliminary concept of seeing what people might be interested in as far as us conducting a worldwide slot car chat proxy race. We have to. There's a lot of things that need to be discussed on narrowing down the cars and class of cars, rather, and the type of way we do the proxy. And I'm by no means. I've never even participated in a proxy, so I'm the definite Neanderthal in trying to make this happen. But there's just a concept that I had that I'd like to maybe we can get some feedback from the people during the chat or after the chat and look at the feedback and see what some suggestions might be. But we all have, well, quite a few of us have tracks that we might want to play host to and can do a race at. And the concept would be maybe have host a race every 2 weeks or whatever duration, and then come back with some type of feedback and follow up or the current status of what the proxy is. If it's 5 locations or 10 locations, whatever, and just kind of like have it go on put these cars on a tour to all the different locations. So that's the concept. Very, very rough concept that I just thought of just about an hour ago, literally. So doesn't have much structure to it.
I'd be interesting to see what everyone's thoughts are about that. I guess first of all, I guess we're reliant upon that wonderful postal service for each of our resident countries. Yeah, that's always a challenge. But the other challenge too is I guess whether we'd want to do a sort of like box stock car. Like the car, I think, is probably the largest part of the discussion. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one type of car. It could be a couple. I mean, that's another sort of possibility as well. And then, of course, it gets down to the tires and the wheels. And usually, I guess the simplest is best. I don't know. What does anyone else think about that?
Well, there are dozens of proxy race events that go on every month or so. We should definitely do something different. And what I think is that we have people in here who 3D print chassis, parts, different things. I mean, we could do something like really weird where everybody gets the same 3D printed chassis, whatever. And then it would be kind of cheaper because you don't have to buy like the axles and wheels and tires. But I mean, also there's some guys in here that are proxy masters, like all they do is race proxies. So I have no chance to beat any of them, but it'll be fun to compete against the rest of you.
Courtney's not here.
But not only that, we hopefully those of us who don't will learn something, right? I mean,
yeah, it would be fun to find out how your cars equate to other cars on your track.
Yeah,
I mean I'm always interested. It's like, okay, this is a great idea. Does it work on my track?
Or the other option, you have one individual prep all the cars.
Well, I was going to say a concerted effort, maybe something like Brian doing something like the chassis and John doing the bodies, and then each person kind of puts together and does their own little twist on optimizing those components and submit it as their choice of
and as long as we want to keep it in this decade, we will not let Chris Walker paint anything. Well, but you know, but to your point, Dewan, some of the and also Jeremy, some of the proxies get really specific. Like there was a 1.5 liter 1965 Formula One proxy. Like how more specific can you get? And so you had to basically get in early to sort of pick the car that you wanted to drive. Because if someone took a Lotus 33 and there are only 2 allowed on the grid, well, now you got to build something else. So I don't think we want to get that pedantic or specific, do we?
Well, I don't know. Well, you can go with GT3 style cars, which is the simplest. That's and the most common. There's the most diversity in that. But I don't know if you want to specifically stay. If you start doing one form of chassis, then it sort of eliminates a lot of the differential in building the car. I mean, basically, you're just seeing who's going to tune it the best. So, you know, I think it'd be more beneficial to specify the motor.
Right. Well, to your point, yeah. So a standard motor, I think, is a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of places do a standard motor, and you can pick us if you want to. You know, we could get a bunch of handout motors if we wanted to do it that way. You know, get a bunch from Electric Dreams that are all from the same batch. Could do it that way, or from Slot Car Corner, from any of them.
Now, here's another concern. If we're going to different tracks from Scalextrics to Carrera to Wood, the guide depth and width is another thing that we, I guess, have to take into consideration as well. Do we not?
Yeah.
Yes.
The builder does.
The builder has to take that into consideration. Yeah, for sure.
I think the initial thing is to try and decide on a class. I've been involved in proxy racing for quite a long time, as some of you will know. And I think the initial thing is decide on a class and then come up with a formula from there.
Right.
John Kitt and I vote for early sports cars. I know that.
Yeah. Well, you know, and again, it's only because I'm old. Yeah, but then again, it might be a mixture as well. To you know what we discussed earlier, it might be save on shipping costs. Instead of just shipping one car in a box, let's maybe ship 2 or 3.
Yeah. It could be worth looking through the Slot Car Illustrated old proxy forum, proxy threads, and having a look at what's been done over the last 22 years there, and see, you know, how that fits in with what everyone's interested in. And I mean, we're a fairly older group, so we're probably more interested in 60s, 70s style cars as much as anything. But
although to your point, Phil, last week Jonas is working on a Lola GT to actually 3D print. So, you know, I mean, boy, talk about warming everyone's heart. I mean, obviously he wants to borrow money from somebody. I mean, let's be honest. So, you know, but I thought that was brilliant. I thought, you know, so we don't necessarily have to limit ourselves to, you know, not to vintage cars, for example. Just to
no. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting because I can't drive this very well off the phone.
If anyone's going to be able to interrupt, it's you, pal.
Oh no, I can do that too.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what, buddy. You get to emerge now, and we'll listen to you.
Okay, I got an idea. Got 2 ideas actually.
Okay.
One is a car that I saw this a couple of years ago, and I go, this would be cool, and there's no place to race them. Formula Ford.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So it's basically a spec car, and we'd have to figure out motors and all that other stuff, but that's not a big deal. So you know, I don't know if somebody one of our guys would want to basically copy this and build our own versions, or just buy somebody else's. That's one idea I had. The other one is I like the Carrera. Just ironically, I've got it in my background, but I love the Carrera GT3 cars. And if you specify that the guide has to be stock, you could change out the wood, the red guide for the black guide based on the track you're running at.
Is this a proxy for anyone or just for us?
Jim, to your point, this is something I'm actually working on because I'm actually working on the F2000 cars that I drove. So
is that a Ford 2000?
Yep, F2000. This is a Renyard from 1986, 87 that we drove. And then
It will
the other
take
was a
50 of
Van
them.
Diemen. Sorry, say again?
We'll take 50 of them.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, that's something that's never been done before.
Never been done before. Exactly. Yeah,
Never
yeah,
been
yeah.
done before.
Yeah, I just threw that
Little-
one up on from Shapeways just because it's something I knew about that, we could do our own or
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
and Jim, but Jim, to your point, oh, sorry, go ahead, Phil, sorry.
it was me.
No, you're right.
I was going to say that
okay.
Brian's got a range of cars that we could pick from. Henry's printed plenty of cars. We've got
I
your.
like the idea of the Formula Ford or Ford 2000 because that's something nobody's done.
Right.
And they're cool
Yep.
cars, Formula
They're
Fords.
cool cars.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and
Make it
and
unique.
it's still a series in IndyCar. That's one of the support series for IndyCar right now.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, because if you would cast them, then I could order enough for a class that it's relatively inexpensive.
Mm.
Garth
I think
could
it's a
do the
great,
wheel.
That's your tuner
great
class,
question.
where everyone's
Yeah.
got the same starting components.
Similar to your Proxy, only all
Yeah.
around rather than just in one track.
Right. And now, okay, so do we leave the chassis open to the builder's desire, or what do you think?
Those cars come with chassis.
So you think the chassis should come along? Sorry, Jim, how would this work? What would someone get?
Well, the one that I showed you, just as an example, the one from Shapeways, that comes with a chassis. So you just add the motor and gears and stuff to it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
What does it run for the body and chassis?
I think it was $37.
Hey, that's my
How
price
much-
point. $40. That's a good deal.
And you never know if we contacted Shapeways, if we ordered 20 of them, maybe we get a deal on them.
Not at Shapeways. You won't.
Yeah,
No.
Shapeways, no.
No.
But we do have a lot of people on here that have the capability of building something like that on their own.
Exactly.
Well, what I thought would be cool is that if somebody here can design a chassis car, whatever, and we get it made on Craft Cloud, once just say I make the part and I put it in my basket, I can then share it to any of you guys, and you don't have to have the file. You just click, I'd like to add this. You find a local printer who prints it for you. That might save on some of the logistics cost, because buying it here and then shipping it to Australia, that's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But you got to ship it back though. So
Right,
there you
that's
go.
what I'm saying. One person ships it once, and they don't care about getting it back because it's just pieces at that point.
But then you get variations in what you produce from the same file, don't you? Because you get.
Well, you might, but you get
Wow.
variations when a real car comes out of the factory. I mean, 1-to-1. You never know. The first
What
person
about-
who's gonna tech them is gonna know. Oh, this one doesn't look right.
Well, what about the prospect of leaving the type of chassis and chassis construction up to the builder? So if someone wants to make it out of popsicle sticks, for example, they can, as long as they use the handout motor, wheels, whatever.
I
What
think,
does
you
it
lose
mean?
I think you lose half the people doing that just don't have the capability at the time, personally.
Okay.
I would agree. I would
And then,
agree.
like I said, you also have dozens of other proxies every year that you can pick from if you're really serious into tuning. So you're just trying to do something different that people on this show that watch, that would want to tune in for, is my thought. Also,
This
like
is-
if you had that weekly or monthly race or whatever, it might also be fun to kind of bet in here on who's going to be first, second, third. Now, not for real money or anything, but for some like points and bragging rights. Because it'd be easy to pick on Chris Webber to win every week. So the odds should be, they should be like 1-to-1 it pays. Whereas the odds for me to win should be like, 800-to-1 or something if I win.
We could have the fantasy league,
Okay.
and the fantasy the fantasy itself is another race. So you got like 6 races in the proxy, and then the 7th race is the fantasy league part of it. So you don't even have to race that one,
Mhm.
and be part of the point system.
I don't know. I see a real opportunity for making some extra money on the side as a track owner.
Yeah, I guess that could influence the races.
Yeah, I don't see nothing. I mean, the car fell off the track. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Fell off the
What are you
track.
gonna
I have a question. Where's Courtney when you need him? He's the proxy guy.
Yeah.
I know that's
He's waiting in the wings. He's watching it on YouTube, waiting for that opportunity to strike.
He did say
There's
to
plenty
me
of proxy
earlier
guys
today
here, mate.
No, sorry, yeah, there are. Yeah, there are. But he would have had something to say. And anyway, I do know he said he would be here because I spoke with him earlier today.
Oh wow.
So I'm surprised to find he's not at the moment.
Cool, but well, it's a real possibility though. Right? But I really, Jim, I like your idea about the open wheel F1600 or F2000. I think that's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's something different, not like, something slot car related. Well, it's slot car related, but all these other cars are something that's already been built or run or whatever. That's something that's brand new.
Well, no one makes an F1600 or F2000 slot car.
Or Brian's cars, the cars that Brian built, that would be fine too.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Garth's got some chassis. He's got some chassis in the pipeline too, hasn't he? He's got a chassis that runs now.
He does, although he's ignoring us.
well, we don't have a bot. He doesn't have a body yet. He's putting it on his slot.
Ah, yes, he is.
You'd like to keep it cheap for everybody and have something ready that's everybody can get.
Well, if it's any help at all, the $40 price point seemed to do really well because I was told that I'd be lucky to get 6, and quite frankly, I agreed. And I had an enormous response, which was really quite something. So, that's a good price. I think that's a reasonable amount to get started.
Wait, sorry, I didn't join early enough to know which tracks that you intend to use. Are we using the tracks that people here have got?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I've actually considered doing that, and you know that, John, because we've discussed it in the past quite a while ago.
That's right. And one of the things that
goes around all of us.
That's what we talked about. Was I was going to build a car that was going to go around the. This is sort of the opposite, where everybody's going around the world together, which is even a better idea, quite frankly.
Yes, I agree. Make it bigger. Make it for all.
Yeah, and you know what? I can see if I can get my daughter to make little 1/32 scale figures of us all, so we can all like sit in the paddock and have.
Oh God.
Have beverages.
Paul Longhurst has got himself and his wife stood on his track,
Yeah, well, he did that. He paid an exorbitant amount of money for a Ford 3D scan, so that's great. I actually have a sibling who has talent that, well, who will charge an exorbitant amount of money, and it'll sit on the side of his track. Yeah, perfect.
Do you guys know currently when they do proxies, do they do them worldwide or do they do them like North America?
Yeah,
only?
in fact, if you look on my channel,
with the shipping cost now, I know it's just like fuel is expensive. Are they still doing it? Like, what does it cost to ship a box of cars?
Well, again, as we talked about last week, shipping costs, at least from Canada, are all over the map. It's less expensive for me to ship to New Zealand than it is to ship to Coburg, Ontario, and it's just the nonsensical postal treaties that we have in place.
What we could figure out is like start it in the USA, and then ship it to John in Canada for the Canada segment, and then John could ship it to Australia cheaper than anybody in the USA.
You know what?
I wouldn't want to keep going back and forth across the world.
That's a great idea, and that's the way it should be done. It should be consolidated at the first event, and then passed on. Absolutely, I think that's a brilliant idea. Yep.
And who gets the responsibility of firing them over to the UK?
Wayne, you do.
It depends on the schedule, quite frankly, Wayne.
Ooh.
Yeah, shipping out of Canada to either Australia or UK will be the cheapest option. That's for sure.
Correct. Yeah.
FedEx want to make 2 arms and a leg off everyone.
And what's shipping out of of Australia to the UK like? Any idea?
Either way, Wayne, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Shipping to US is not too bad, but shipping from the US is a very expensive.
And to your point, Phil, it comes under the Commonwealth Agreement that we have for postage.
Yeah, I got caught a couple of times when I was running a lot of proxies with shipping from the US back.
Right.
Yeah.
Include the shipping costs as part of the proxy fees.
Yeah, you know what? I think because they're so variable, we'll probably have to wait and see what the shipping cost was, and then everybody sort of contribute accordingly.
Well, it depends on how many entrants.
When you get into shipping more and more cars, that plays into what you just said.
Yes.
If we all entered 2 cars, it doubles the size of the box, doesn't it?
Yes.
So Carrera is out. I have to go lighter, cheaper,
Suddenly we're having a HO proxy, aren't we now?
pretty much.
And I think that's one of the advantages with Jim's suggestion of the formulas cars, but they'll be a lot lighter in weight anyhow.
Yep.
And a lot more
And smaller.
compact to put in a box and ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of body shells are usually very resilient, I find. By that I mean a cigar-based car.
Till the wings fly off, yeah.
That's something that we would get
Like a
right.
Formula Ford 1600.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen. Well, you've seen the one on my track. That was $1,000 worth of hollow aluminum. They fly off real good. Both in scale and in 1-to-1 scale.
You guys want to table a definitive decision, anything like that? Just maybe get some feedback and look at it next week.
Yeah.
Okay, but and to your point, Dewan, let's at least move it forward with at least one resolution that we've settled on some sort of open wheel Formula Ford or Formula 2000. Is everyone into that? Yeah.
If we can get it, yeah.
Yeah, let's go shopping next.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean if we can get it? We can make it. This isn't about getting. This is about doing. It's what we want, and we'll make it happen.
If somebody can put Yona to work, maybe he can get something together.
Oh, that poor
He's
kid.
got
No
those-
wonder he didn't show up today.
His Porsches. That if he can get those moving, that would be.
Just
That would-
tell Greg when he gets back, he's got to build 40 cars.
Yeah.
You miss a meeting, here's what happens.
Yeah.
You let us have the forum and that's it.
Yeah, as if the poor guy isn't feeling badly enough as already. Yeah, let's really kick him when he's down. Okay, so open wheel Formula Ford or 2000, that car, and then we can think about for the next week whatever the next sort of piece of logistics are.
Who's eligible?
What's that? Sorry.
Who's eligible?
Oh yeah. Well, I guess you have to show up at least on one chat. Is that fair?
I agree. You have to have done it. You have to have been here.
Yeah, and you can't
There you
talk for longer than 53 minutes. So that'll do it.
The folks who are listening on by YouTube right now will have an opportunity. Just give them an incentive to actually tune into the
Going in.
chat.
Yeah.
True. That's right.
idea.
If
they want to
exactly. That's right. If you show up on the Celebrity Square, you're in the club. There you go. That's the way it works. That's right.
The next discussion should be what sort of motor and what capacity motor. But that should be the next decision to make and go from there.
And then volunteer.
Well,
It's in the
From the
chassis.
standpoint of ease of installation, the Polycar chassis gear thing is a pretty good setup.
Which one?
Oh,
Well,
the reduction
Polycar
gears.
takes a chassis, a pod and
Gearbox.
gears setup.
You got to figure out the car and the chassis before you think about the motor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's part of the chassis.
Those bodies you're only going to fit a slim
Yeah, but
line in anyhow.
if
aren't you,
we're
really?
picking that car that for whatever reason, that one that I suggested, that will not take that pot.
Oh, I see.
You've got to pick the car
What-
first before you figure out everything else.
What motor does it take?
I assume it's just a standard motor, but I'm not 100% positive.
I wish Brian Gripperich were here to throw his anything because I think he may have something already on the.
He was here earlier.
Well, okay, so hang on. May I propose this then so we can move things forward? We've settled on the type of car. Yay. Let's ponder for next week to settle on the type of motor. And why don't we bring some examples perhaps to sort of show everyone and then we can settle on the type of motor. Is that fair?
We have to have a specific car before we can decide on a motor. Though.
I can do a handstand like in 2 seconds.
Okay, well, you mean a specific car made by a specific?
No, we just need to know the car because if we pick a motor and then it doesn't fit in the car we pick, it doesn't do any good.
Okay, so we've picked, let's say, an F2000. So an open wheel F2000 car.
Yeah,
So-
we can look around.
Which means that we've already, which means we've already limited ourselves to an inline configuration, have we not?
Well, the
Yeah,
easiest
that's-
motor
yes.
is the standard short can motor. I mean, and then we can pick which one it is later, but that's
Or you could do a slim can.
It could be an
You
FF.
can do an FF 050, for example, right?
if it fits in the car we pick, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, why don't we think about that for next week and then decide on the motor next week? We've decided on the car, yeah, so F2000 car, yeah.
I mean,
It's
the
the
cars
style
that
of
Brian,
car,
those
but
cars
the-
that Brian have look
We
like
need to find
the,
the next specific car is the next step, I feel.
Sorry, say
That
again, I can't,
Someone's still got a mic open, haven't they?
that's
If we
okay.
keep the
It's
specific
Bob, I think.
body, then that will dictate the can size, can style.
exactly. Yeah.
We can then say what's on offer at Pendle or what's on offer somewhere that we can all buy from.
Oh, okay, so do you want to maybe next week look at different bodies then? Is that, how about we do that then?
Ah,
That car that Brian has, that kind of looks like a spec Renault. That would be a good car if he has the time and everything to build them for everybody.
Yeah, and since he's not here, we can decide for him. How about that?
Exactly. That's the price you pay for missing the chat, yeah?
He was here earlier. Maybe he'll be back. But
Maybe.
That's true. Yeah, we can, okay, okay, fair enough.
Every once in a while, like Professor Motor has a clearance bin where cars are like 20, 25 bucks for something that didn't sell. Everybody keep your eye out for like, if there's if there's a store with like 20 in stock of something that never sold that's really ugly, maybe that's an option too.
Well, I know here in Canada, I picked up a whole bunch of, do you remember the GPF1 series that Skelectrix was in for like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I picked up a whole bunch of cars for like 10 bucks a piece.
Yeah.
I think
Now that's my kind of proxy.
somebody needs to look at Pro Tinker Toys then in that case, don't they?
Sorry, say again?
I'm just
sir?
saying, just keep your eyes out until the next week. I mean, if you happen to see something, that'd be great. But if not,
Okay,
But have we decided on an open wheel car yet?
no, we don't even have rules yet. I wouldn't be deciding on anything. Like we don't have anybody organizing it, and we don't have anybody running it, putting rules. So I would just start. We were just seeing if there was interest. I think Dewan wanted to kind of get an idea. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think the next step is to kind of people take a look at options that are out there of cars that we could do. And then again, think about like, do we want to buy it here, but ship it to Australia and then he ships it back? Like if there's a better way to do this, keep that in your mind.
yeah, I mean, the logistics, I think, once we've settled on cars and tracks, the logistics will probably, I think, work themselves out. And we'll make that, we'll make that happen. That's the easy part. The difficult part is getting everyone to agree on the type of car and its components.
And realistically, I hate to say it, but it might be better to start out and do it in North America only.
Well, if we have a
but,
worldwide,
but Phil has a really good point, actually. If it ended up like in Canada, if we wanted to ship to a Commonwealth country from Canada, it's a lot less expensive than from the United States.
And this is the worldwide slot car chat, remember?
Well, I realize that, but sometimes reality says it too. I'm not saying that's the way you should do it. If we can work it out, great.
Okay.
Is there then a case for saying, okay, let's use a Skelectric IndyCar? We can all get one of those in our home countries.
we can. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
yeah.
You've only got to hit eBay, you'll find one.
Yeah, horrible, Wayne.
Yeah, well, although Wayne,
It's,
you
it's
know,
horrible. It's horrible. It is a horrible
Yeah.
car to have to run. It is. I've got one.
well, I kind of go with what Jim's. We should try and do something that no one else has either markets or
Yes.
has done before. I think that's a great idea.
didn't Brian have a design for a Formula Ford kind of car?
Yeah,
This is
he
mentioned
did. Yeah.
Brian Giprick.
He did.
Maybe, of course, that he's 3D printing that. I'm not saying he should 3D print them all, but maybe you can take that design and modify it if you need to, if you're going to run some different motor. Make that the spec. Once you settle on that, make that the spec design, and then get them from who can get them from. If he can print them, or Jeremy can print them, or whoever can print them.
We know that Brian uses an FDM style printer. So if he sends the file to the UK, I can get that printed locally because it's FDM. If it was SLS, that would be a different thing. That would have to be a craft cloud style of thing. But because it's FDM, I know and
Well, that's good. That's Wayne sorted, but we just have everyone else to worry about.
Well, I mean, if he prints the ones that go into Canada and the US, then that's, or else, everyone here that's got a printer and Greg, could print a few for the US probably, and all we're taking from out of Brian then is the file, is the design.
Well, I think that's actually a nice idea because he's been a big part of our chat, so it'd be great to use one of his designs.
Yeah, that little sports car that he had kind of looks like a spec Renault.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be an ideal one, and that's different too. Doesn't necessarily have to be the Formula Ford, but I just have that.
I'm going to smack you. Go back to the tap couch. Go.
It's okay. I listen. I have that effect on people. It's okay. I'm really sorry. So yeah, no, yeah, that's another. Although you know what? Here's an. You do both.
That's a lot of stuff to build 2 cars and get them shipped.
Yeah, nah.
That's a lot.
Okay, I'm just hey, we're blue sky in here, man. That's okay. I just got shot down like a BF 109 over the White Cliffs of Dover, but that's fine.
Keep it nice and accessible to as many of us as possible. Just
Well, it depends on how many people we have too. If we have 10 people, that would not be a big problem for the track to run 2 classes in a day. But if we have 30, that's a lot of time to actually run a race with 2 different classes.
Yes.
Right.
Well, you can
stagger them and run.
Then you would modify the schedule, I would imagine. Number of laps, race time, etc. Lanes used even to bring that down into practical. Because who says they have to be the same at all? They don't, do they?
No, not at all.
And you got to tell the drivers that you drive the cars. You're not racing against other people, because Courtney got screwed last week.
Where was the round?
It was I can't remember what the name of the track, but it was broadcast live, and he got taken out a couple times by another car. Not, obviously who's driving whose cars, but Courtney's car got taken out a couple times by somebody that didn't want to get lapped. And if they're watching the broadcast, I'll stand by that statement. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Why wouldn't you run them one at a time?
Time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
The car goes on one lane and then gets handed down to the next lane to the next driver.
There are some proxies that only run 2 lanes on a 4-lane track, so there's never 2 cars next to each other, but there's time issue. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Wow.
We've run the Tasman series here for years now. I ran the last one a couple of years back, and we race them on most of the tracks. There used to be 1 or 2 that had time trials, but the drivers are told you handpick the drivers. You don't get any muppet, and you tell them that you're racing against the clock, not against each other.
Right.
That's the risk of a isn't it? I mean, there is a random.
Stuff happens in a race, but you shouldn't have people trying to specifically block another car and not let them by.
Yeah, their drivers are very well briefed on that. Phil attested that as well, because he's been involved with the Tasman for years as well. And just make sure that you pick your best drivers as good as you can get, and make sure that they know how to behave with other people's cars.
Sounds like the administrators of that race that Courtney was in should have intervened and done something a little different, give him another shot, done something a little different. Listen, damaged his car, but
I've got to say that what I have seen of the live streams of the GT3 Proxy in the past, the driving standards have been very impressive in general. On that respect, and I'm surprised to hear Jim's comment about what happened to Courtney there.
Well, I agree with you totally, but this one was not that way.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you bring up a really valid point, Wayne. We're talking about analog cars here, right? Not digital?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure. I mean,
I'm a keen viewer of the GT3 Proxy. I just don't have sometimes what the live streams are 4 to 7 hours, depending on. Don't have time to sit and watch through those. So, but yeah, I've watched the qualifying and round 0, and I've lost touch with it since then. I think they went from there to Tanex, which is where is that? Toronto, I think.
Sorry, say again, where was it?
I think the circuit's called Tanex, and the guy that organises it there has been in the chat once or twice. I've forgotten his name now.
Alwyn,
Oh, and that's right,
that's in Vancouver.
Vancouver. Yeah, thank you.
That's a bit of a distance from Toronto.
It is, yeah, no, it is quite a way, but it's close to where the first mid BC Kelowna, and he's been in the chat. Rob, he's been in the chat with us, and he's a mad proxy guy too. So you know, he might even play. I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
Yeah, he does a really good job. And
Not
spends a
half.
lot of time on it.
Yeah.
So we mostly had 3-lane tracks, and Alwyn always qualified the cars in the center lane. And then when we raced, we only used the 2 outside lanes. So there was never a problem of contact.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a viable idea. We just have to work on all the details, I suppose. No, so I'm sure there's it, but yeah, and if anyone's watching this, actually, you know what I'm not doing is taking a look on YouTube and see if anyone is actually commenting on this. Let me spark up old Betsy.
I'll tell you what, the best comment there would be, "I'll slap you back then."
Oh, here we go. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, look at this. Not commenting, but enjoying listening. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, someone has actually got a recommendation here. It's Rob who recommended. We recommend an open lane in between active lanes for the GT3 Proxy. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
That'll be Rob, CGY Racer, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
That's probably going to make going to restrict to wooden tracks for the most part.
Well, yeah, but you can run single cars if you want to do it, if you've got a fast lane on a 2-lane. And you know, the advantage is it takes a little bit more time to run all the cars on a 2-lane track if you're going to run the best lane, or what seems to be, or run them both. You know, if you run them.
Are we talking about yours, Michael? Your track?
Yeah.
All you need is 2 good drivers.
That's true.
And you're good. And from what I've seen of your streams, you're perfectly capable of not hitting one another if you choose not to.
Yeah, the tracks in our area too are all 24 scale lane spacing, so it's not quite as an issue as it is with a standard 32nd scale lane spacing.
Well, it'd be interesting. I actually could offer 3 tracks because there's an 8-lane analog track that I do 124 scale.
Yeah.
At Allen's or another one?
No, there's a place near me at Malaga that I race 124th cars on.
But they spray glue
I
it,
could
right?
possibly use that too.
They spray glue it?
Yes.
You don't want to run that track.
Courtney.
But they can clean it.
Yeah, but if they spray glued it enough over the years, it will not come off. And you've got a car that will burn, you get a track that will burn motors out with rubber tire cars that aren't ready for it. Seriously, we had that happen last week. Somebody came in to Modesto in Motown and was used to running on a home track, and his motor burned out within 5 minutes because he's not prepared for that track. So I don't see that being a viable option for a proxy.
Bring Courtney up to speed. John, bring Courtney up to speed.
Courtney, welcome. We missed you, of course. We have been discussing the possibility of having a worldwide slot car chat proxy.
You're not allowed.
Yeah.
So,
you be the rules guy.
I'm in, but it's going to be Team Rose Smith because Jim does the tires and I'll do the cars. Listen, please tell me we can do the Porsche 935.
Hey, I'll make as many of those as you want.
Already looking for that advantage. Already looking for the unfair advantage.
It's like you're surprised, John.
No, just point out the facts. Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
Thank you. In case anybody missed it.
We did make a decision in your absence, Courtney.
As you should.
Does John want to expand on
Well,
that?
it wasn't a decision. We were thinking about using Brian's 3D printed bodies, for example, either the open wheel or
Something like that.
yeah.
The
Cool.
F6.
They love those.
You know, that kind of bit.
And Courtney, this was my suggestion. F2000. This is the one that we raced, either the Renyards or a Van Diemen.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
it.
in.
If you can find one.
No, what fine? You make.
Listen,
That's what
those
this channel's all about.
Somebody in Cincinnati area did a proxy with those cars, and they were relatively simple. Yeah, because I think the axles and everything snap right into the body, if I'm not mistaken. There's no chassis to it. The body is all one.
Kind of like an old scale electric or something.
Like an old scale electric from the 60s, exactly.
That's right.
And we know how well they ran.
Hey, I love my little Ferrari.
Oh, that one's got a pod. Oh yeah.
That's 1/24.
Yeah, but they're so small.
Yeah.
So that's what we were kicking about. Just so you know. So
well,
okay,
we can kick you.
The next stage, which was come back next week with proposals for a chassis, and in the meantime we're going to try and bring Brian into the picture with his own proposal.
Sorry, I had the wrong screen share. Same builder, but
there it is. And that does look like two pieces. Can't see it from ooh. You see the second picture along, Jim?
Hit the 3D button, Jim, and you can rotate and see the bottom.
Ah.
Oh my. Jeremy's a wizard.
How dare you?
I'm convinced.
There you go.
That's got
what kind of sorcery do you practice out there in Iowa?
We're children of the corn. We walk behind the rows.
Listen, that is an updated version of the chassis I saw because that's got a pod in it. Oh, I love that.
It's a cool looking little car.
I'm definitely doing a John Kit what is that called? Tribute.
Well, actually, the picture I showed you was Tom Edwards' car. He's the guy who actually he got me into racing. He's the guy who paid for my racing school and was a big supporter. And so that would be a great tribute to him. Actually, that would be really cool. That was his company, Spinnaker Graphics. Really cool dude. Yep, really neat. All right. Okay, so open wheel car then. Have we decided on something since
or
we're
something
Brian
makes? If Brian can come up with one of his, just something kind of unique like that we can get.
Okay, but we at least are resolved that it's a good and viable idea. Yeah.
An inline type of vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah. It keeps things relatively simple, I think. No.
Yeah. Any objections? Are there any objections?
Hands up, everyone with an objection.
Any better ideas?
Better ideas.
I would wait. I object. I just don't like Shapeways, the idea, because it's going to mess with people trying to buy it from Australia, UK and stuff. But I do like the idea of talking to Brian, see if Brian's got anything. If Brian doesn't, maybe Garth can come up with something. I mean, we have options. And we're trying to keep this worldwide stock car chat specific. So that's my
way. I'm not. I just brought that up as an example of something.
No,
like
I know.
That. But yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
I like the idea. I don't like if it was.
I don't think Garth's interested.
I think Shapeway shipping for me is the most prohibitive part. It doubles the price of any component. Well, like that car, for example. Shapeway shipping is terrible.
Garth wants to do it with the Dodge.
Garth wants to do it with a CUDA.
CUDA.
Oh, hello.
There we go.
Saw them parked still for a moment then.
Yeah, let me back up.
Where is that out in Cincy spots?
Pause,
Yeah,
pause,
but this
pause,
is-
pause.
Cool.
That's a wood track.
Yeah,
No-
Butch
no
Dunaway's
way.
track. His first track.
Whose is it?
It was Butch Dunaway's first track.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
And are those are 32nd scale or 24th?
30
I don't remember.
32nd. They're
Yeah, they had them in
basically,
both sizes.
it's basically just I think a 3D printed body with a slotted inline pod underneath and a guide at the front, and that's about it. It doesn't really have a chassis, it just has the pod.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we got to bring Dennis up to speed of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm late. I had family visiting.
Now we can't keep bringing people up to speed. We'll be here all day.
Well, I try, especially if you try to get me up to any kind of speed.
Let's see here. I'll find there's some pictures of the bottom of the car somewhere.
What do you know about its origins? Anything?
Yeah, it was somebody from Cincinnati made it.
Yeah. It was Butch Dunaway.
Was it?
I think so.
Is he still around? Talk.
Oh yeah.
Somebody should talk to him. Courtney, there you go. You've got a job now too.
Does anyone know the cost of the slotted motor pod, and gearbox, and rear axle, and bushers, and as a unit, complete unit?
$37, I believe.
Will that have a motor in it already?
Yeah, that's with the motor. That's last time I looked.
Well, the ones we're looking at Shapeways already have a motor pod. It's a unique motor pod.
Oh, okay.
I'm really glad we can agree on something.
Well, I think we should look at it and come up with some ideas and proposals for next.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, well, in fact, that's what we'll do for next week. If someone has a really sort of bit more of a fleshed out idea, then by all means put a little presentation together. We can maybe chat about that next week, because we're almost half time here, and I thought we'd get to show and tell now, if that's okay. So if anyone has anything they want to show and tell, by all means put up your virtual hand or wave your hand like in front of the screen, whatever works. Michael, I see you are up. What have you got for show and tell, sir?
Yes. Well, unfortunately, one of my show and tells is apart because I can't wait for anything. But I got a whole raft of stuff from Spain, and I will show them one at a time. First off, I got a 917 LH.
Most cool.
Yeah, I really like those. I don't know how it's going to run, considering you look at the bottom. That's a lot of plastic hanging out the back, but we'll see. I love the way it looks, though. It's really a cool car. And to keep up the Porsche theme, I don't know why I would have one of those. I got another 924.
Oh yeah.
car. These are fly cars. This one is a SRC, and then I bit the bullet and got an SCX 959. So it's a 4-wheel drive car. It's a gear-driven 4-wheel drive car. It's got gears on both ends. I haven't even taken it apart yet, so I don't know. And the other car I got was an addition to one other car that I got was a Lotus 16, I think it is.
Well, that's the car tricks, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the car tricks. Yeah, I've got a bunch of the car tricks, and this is just an addition to it, to the group that I have.
Looks neat.
And it's a nice car.
I see that.
And then I have what was for me a real disappointment. It's the Williams FW08.
With that angled motor and all those funny gears. And
it's a unique chassis.
Who made that
The
one?
thing I don't like is
that's a fly, yeah.
wheel. And that
plus there's no room for steering you're ever come across.
Pardon me?
The stiffest steering, because it doesn't really
Oh,
steer properly. When you move the guide, it just flexes all the push rods and doesn't really
Right.
move the wheels
Right.
much.
It's terrible as a slot car.
Well,
So,
that's only because the little KK Rosberg is holding onto the wheel so tightly.
yeah. But I'm going to put the Shapeways. Our ARCO has a chassis for it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, Electric Dreams doesn't have it. Because I would rather buy it from them, but
Mhm.
it's not available from them. They got the FW07, but not the 08, which this one is.
Mhm.
So yeah, but that was I
will talk
considered
to them.
sending it back, but I'll probably either I'll get the Shapeways chassis or I will graft a piece of brass onto the front and make my own front suspension. So we'll see what that is. And the last but not least, the one I was playing with is a 936
Yeah.
Porsche. You can see it's already been bastardized with aluminum wheels. This one, however, was modified when I got it. It was a used car, I believe. The body looks new, but the chassis has been played with, and it's the wimpiest rear axle setup I've ever seen. I mean, there's nothing there. So there's going to have to be some tubing put between the bushings and stuff like that. So we shall see how that works.
What make is that?
Pardon me?
What make is that?
It's a Spirit, I
Spirit?
believe. Yeah, it's a Spirit. Yeah. So
Some of their stuff was pretty good.
It
Some of
looks
it was really chattery.
flexible back end. Sorry.
Some of their stuff was pretty good, but sometimes they're very chattery.
I've got another one that is pretty decent, but it seems to me, if I remember, the chassis is not that wimpy. But at any rate, my knowledge base has probably improved since then. So who knows? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, that's my show and tell.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael. And we're on to Dewan.
Okay. I'm sure you guys remember a few chats back about the subject of storage containers and ways of organizing and getting things together for your slot car parts and stuff like that. So I know that I had been picking the brain of a few people, and I remember asking Ian Douglas when we were out racing Electric Dreams about some of his storage containers. He mentioned that he would he got his, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I find my button here. Where's it at? Oh, there it is. He told me to go on to Amazon and get these bead organizers. And so, see that. But those are the bead organizers. Then I'm going to stop this item and everything that I actually picked and chose. And I actually got this one, and I got another variant off of that. And here they are. So this is little boxes, and this is I got about I have four of these, and this is
little boxes inside bigger boxes.
Yes, little small boxes inside a bigger box, and you can see that I have kind of took the containers of the different small parts. I'm sure you can't read it; it's not that clear, but then
part numbers, yeah. You just cut those off the packaging labels, don't you?
Just put the packaging label, put the official label on there, so if I need to restock, I know exactly what the model and everything get. And this is my shortcut description of what it is and everything. Oh boy, here come my dog. Wrong time. And so they're pretty standardized. And this is a 30 pack. And what I got is a variant from the same manufacturer. I think it's the same manufacturer, but nonetheless, is little carrying case box, the same exact size little small containers can go into this. So that when I'm traveling, I can just, put them into the travel container and
Yeah.
take them along, as well as I have my soccer box that I can show that. I think I can show it over here. It's over my shoulder there, thereabouts, the little sidecar box. And I can take out some of the container or some of the sidecar slots right there and put in maybe a 6 or 8 of these containers just to take me on the road with my sidecar box. So it worked out quite well. That's just my little solution to the little organizer issue that I had. And it seems to be working quite well. I'm only halfway through putting my little small parts together, though.
You know what's going to happen, of course, right? Is that when you go racing and you pack 8 little containers in there, the parts that you need are going to be in the 9th container that you left at home.
That's called the law of sod, or sod's law.
That's the way it always works.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why slot car racers carry so much baggage with them, literally and figuratively.
That's so cool. Thanks, Dewan. Those are really cool, man.
Yeah, very nice.
Nice. Mr. Rose, what have you got for us, sir?
Well, I bought a new car, and somebody last week mentioned about Great Tradition selling off cars, and I'd bought one from them before where they convert the digital to analog and sell them for cheap. So as far as I know, this is not available as an analog car, and so I got it, $29. But what I really wanted to show you guys is that when I was doing my video on this, when you look at the 0 in the 60, I thought it was a paint imperfection when I first looked at it. But it's the silhouette of a controller forming the center of the 0.
Cool.
So it's just a cool little feature.
Very cool.
And it's a really good looking car. I like the BMW M4, even with the huge
grill
nose. With the fender flares, I think it works fine as a GT3 car. I think it looks really mean and menacing, and I like the car. So I bought a second one with this special 60th anniversary livery.
That's nice. Carrera do a really good job of their tempo printing these days. There.
Yeah, I did a video on this today, and I looked at the pictures afterwards, and I go, "That's not an imperfection in the paint. That's a silhouette of a controller." I had to redo the video.
Oh, it's just too bad. It's just too bad it's not a silhouette of a good controller.
Well, at least it was a wireless one, right?
Or maybe get a good controller into a 9 in 30 years' time.
Yeah, true enough. But the other thing I like about it too, Jim, was the way they had the disc brake on the front wheel. You know, it looks it looks cool.
Oh yeah, I can pull that up if you like. Let me share the screen back again. The detail on the wheel and the brake disc and the brake caliper is really good. So
the only thing that most of these guys haven't been able to work out yet is how to keep the caliper still while the disc rotates.
That's true. Exactly. We take some liberties, but at standstill, it does look good.
Yeah.
I did see a car somewhere
waited,
that had
Jim?
that, but I don't recall where.
What did you say, Mike?
Have you weighed it?
I don't have a scale that goes that high. No, I haven't.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, we race electrics and Carrera GT3s together, and so it'll be in that class. Obviously, it's going to be big and tall. It may not be competitive, but it's going to look good.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got one.
And you don't need racing driver excuses when you run that car because it's already written on there.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the helmet's detailed. The helmet's got the Carrera 60th anniversary logos on it. It's just a nicely done car.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Jim. Lenny, what have you got for us, sir?
Oh, good day. Here, good everybody. I'll just try and get this up. This is let's go back to front. I've got this this year for Christmas. First time I've had a Christmas slot car present in I don't know how long. but it's a Rover SD1 3.5 litre. We're introducing Group A touring cars to our.
Yeah, Lenny, don't worry. It's back to front for you, but it's perfect for us, so not to worry.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Is that
Yeah,
a
so I'm bringing. I'll show you underneath. Just basic scale electric. We're going to allow a few modifications like wheels and guides, etc. But we're introducing the Group A this year for as a category, Internet or FIA Group A, I suppose you call it. So the Rover, the Sierra, the M1, M3, 635 BMW, the Holden Commodore, whatever else is there. So that's going to be a new class for us. So I thought I'd buy this as my introductory car. So
there are a couple of individuals out there on the YouTube land that would advocate that as, or would nominate that as slot car of the year. They're that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware it's got tobacco advertising on it. Bestos is a Belgian cigarette company or something, isn't it? So,
yes.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to see how they go. We were already racing the Sierra and the M3 BMW in our small car class, but I'm going to take them out of that. I'm going to change our small touring car class goes to 88 or something like that now, but I'm going to bring it back to early 80s. So that'll bring the group up, the Sierra and the M3 into the Group A class. So should be good fun. Anyway, that's it for me for show and tell. So
you say it was your first Christmas present for a while.
Yeah, it's my first slot car Christmas present for a while. I had to go and get it myself.
You know what they say, it's never too late to have a happy childhood.
Oh, that's it. Well, it was good because it was in the residuals bin at the local pusher, I'll call him. The local dealer, and I got that for $55 Australian, whatever that is in other countries' money. So
$1.50 US.
Sorry, Gary.
$1.50 US.
Yep.
Yeah, about that. South Pacific pesos.
Very cool. Thank you, Lenny. Wayne,
That's
what have
all
you got for us, sir?
Well, you may remember the story from a long time back that my parents moved house, and when they did, they took all our childhood slot car equipment with them. And one day we asked after that, myself and my brother asked, where is all that slot car stuff? And they said, oh, we had some boxes that we hadn't opened for about 3 years since we'd moved here. And when we did open them, we decided that we found the slot car stuff. So we decided to sell it. And both my brother and I were aghast at the fact that all our childhood slot cars were gone. Turns out that wasn't quite accurate, because I went down to visit parents this Christmas and I was handed a carrier bag with what turns out are the last remaining trio of slot cars from the past, from our childhood.
So they obviously left you the cheap stuff then.
Not really. Each one of these has got a story attached. Excuse me 1 second. I'll switch on my mains power because my battery's about to go flat. I've got one here. I'll start with the worst, and I've absolutely no idea why I've got this, but I have, and it's in box, and it's brand new. And it's one of those scale electric Porsche 911s with lights. And this is done with the Joker written on the door. And I don't know whether that's a connection to Batman. Did Batman enemies have a Porsche 911 in pink?
Set. Yeah, it had Batman as well.
The box
there was a Batman in those series.
The box says gold. I haven't got a clue why. Anyway, the window's absent. The noisy insert is still there.
I'd say that's a different box. I'd say that's a different box, Wayne. There was a gold for.
Yeah, I would too. And when I googled the C number, it came up with the gold one, which is a car that I did own.
I think the gold one went with the silver.
Sorry?
There was a gold and a silver one that came out together, so I'd say it's probably
Yes, I also had a white one. I think it was in a Martini livery.
Yeah,
I can remember that one. I know where they break. They break across the rear axle. Across where the crown gear pokes through the bottom. Anyhow,
well, that's okay. You can always cut the back off and make another car for Greg.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I didn't think of that link. This one, after I'd stopped slot car racing, and for me, after I'm 25 years old at this point, I get a slot car for my birthday, and it's this horrible, gruesome coloured maroon.
It's a Jaguar. Yeah,
XJ220.
Jaguar
Yeah,
XJ220.
XJ220.
Yeah.
220.
And I can't remember exactly. I think it was new at that time, because when I Googled this one, it was released in, what was it, 94, 90, 95, 96. I think this was in the catalogue. So that's exactly the time when I was 25 years old. And I can remember getting it as a birthday present. The last one also has a story. This is the oldest of the trio. It has the history of being the one slot car that we couldn't play with as children. It was my dad's slot car, I suppose, really. And he bought this and he hid it in the attic for years and years and years. And we knew that he owned it. And we believed that he'd got this with cigarette advertising on it, because this is a Lotus Formula One car. It would be the JPS Lotus. And we were of the understanding that it would be rare and valuable in the future, because it was the last scale electric car with cigarette sponsorship on it. Turns out it's actually not that one. They did do one like that, but it's not that one. This one is the one that's just got...
yeah, it's supposed to be the Lotus 76, right?
Team Lotus Special written on there.
77.
Oh, 77. I'm sorry, 77. You're right. Yeah, that was the one with the variable track in the front and the rear. Yeah.
There it is. And look at this. Look at the price. Is that £8.99?
It is. Yeah.
That would be the 70s price of this car. Now I've looked this one up, and obviously this is the rare one because it's got the yellow helmet. If anyone's interested, they were available with all the different colours of helmets. But this is the one car that we were never allowed to play with, and that's why it's not broken. I can tell you a dirty little secret, and that is that one Christmas, myself and my brother did sneak up into the attic, take this car, do a few laps, and trap it back in the box and put it back again. Dad, I'm sorry. But yeah, those came back to me this Christmas completely out of the blue. We thought they were gone forever. And they're not the old stuff. All the other stuff we had was older than the oldest of that. But that was my show and tell. I've got 3 new slot cars, but they're really old. And I already owned them.
Cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Christmas comes
nice.
back.
Christmas comes around a second time, yeah.
Well, thanks, Wayne. That's awesome. Mr. Garth, what have you got for us, sir?
I got an update on my Ferrari chassis.
Oh, excellent. Please do show and tell.
This is prototype 2 of the chassis, okay? And this one, the body actually fits on it, which was an update from the last version, okay? And that's what it looks like. It's a little different, okay? And there's, you know, it looks the same, but there's this is different, this is different. Little bits and pieces of it are different than the original version. Okay, and so what you see here is a polycar Ferrari body on a completely 3D printed SLS, everything else, chassis, wheels, and guide. There it is. That's what it looks like. And I got a little bit of weight in the front here. This is actually, there's a weight on both sides and in the middle here, and that's 3 grams of lead in there.
What we all want to know, Garth, is how well does the car run?
Runs like badass grease lightning, man. Just couldn't be happier with it.
Of course, it will be very, very light with that minimal chassis, won't it?
Oh, yeah, you'll, I'll get there in a second. I got the weight of it. Show you the
Oh,
weight.
cool.
This is mainly the difference between the previous version, the prototype 1. This has got a little bit higher towers in it, okay? And then I removed a bunch of I had a whole bunch of different little wire holders in here that really didn't work out. So I ended up putting these little wire tunnels on each side, and that worked out pretty well. Okay. And again, I think I showed this before, the way that this works. It's got slot.it spherical bushings in the slots here, okay, and set screws here and set screws on the top. Just couldn't be happier with the way that worked. Okay, it's another shot. Here's shows the 3 grams of weight here in the front, and this is the Tiger Shark front guide. Another shot from the back. Shows the gearing. There's a shot showing you the way the wires come through and into the little tunnels. Okay, that worked out pretty well. Okay, it's from the other side. Okay. There's the chassis weight with everything except for the body.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and there it is with the body on it.
That's extremely light, isn't it?
Yeah, that's light.
Could be as much as 20 grams lighter. So I imagine then that the power to weight ratio is really good, and the motor seems really pokey.
Oh yeah, it is badass. And for Mike Maurer, the front to back is 61 back, 39 front. Okay.
Wow.
A little bit lighter than the previous version, but I don't want to change a damn thing with that. Okay.
No, that's really good.
Yeah. And so it's
that looks cool. Well,
I got
the fit of the body on the chassis is excellent now. Really, the wheels are perfectly in the wheel arches. That's really very, very nice.
Yeah, you know, that's it's the hardest thing to do, I think, you know, is measure the you got to get that right, and
you got to get the offsets between the mounting posts and the wheel arches.
Yeah, and it's not just, it's the height of the mounting post too. Like this one was a little had that, you know, that's where the mounting post comes down. Okay. And you could, you know, you could on the other car, on the prototype 1, I fit this version of this chassis with a little bit longer wheelbase into a Lancia. Okay. And I had you saw the little
adapter
metal thing I did to mount the body, but that car is pretty good too. But this thing, you know, a version of this is prototype 2 of the F40, and there will be a prototype 3 with a few minor changes to it, and then I'm just going to leave that alone, and then I'm going to go on and make a Lancia version. Okay, so I have some for the Lancias, and
very nice.
So that's my show and tell for the day. And
what kind of spur gear did you put on there? MR.
I'm sorry, what? I didn't quite get that.
I was interested to know what kind of spur gear you've got on there.
Oh, that's a slot.it plastic spur gear, and they
32
tooth, and it's one that's got holes in it. Okay, they got, and you know, they have one that both plastic, one has holes, and this lightning holes, and one doesn't. I mean, I use both. I don't, you know, differentiate. And a pinion is 11 pinion. It's the same setup as what's on a poly car or a slot.it
side one
F40 side one. Yeah.
And is it your quickest? Is it the quickest you're going, or have you got things with even tastier motors that go quicker?
This is just a stock Nomad car, so it's just got a stock motor in it, and I don't have a lot of time on it, but it's pretty damn drivable, you know what I mean? So like I said, it's a prototype.
That's very cool. Wow.
Very nice.
You've come a long way with your chassis there, Garth.
Interesting little story about me and chassis. And Jim Rose showed that Carrera car, okay? And that's very, very much why I want to 3D print chassis, is so that I can get some of those, cars that have great bodies on them, both Scalextric and Carrera and SCX, and John knows about the CUDA, okay, and then build a chassis, or print a chassis that fits underneath those nice bodies, and so that's kind of where I'm going with that. And the other thing is that I'm cheap too, and once you get the thing perfected, they're not a lot of money. If you look at the price of a slot-it or a polycard chassis and a motor pod together, okay, compared to getting a 3D printed chassis, it's peanuts, you know what I mean?
If you're designing it.
Yeah, you got to obviously design, but I as it goes, they'll probably end up being on Jaded Parts website if anybody's interested.
Now he's done the legwork, got two of them functional. The changes he would need is to move the body posts in wherever 3-dimensional requirement the new body shell requires. Change the track width, change the length of the car, which is really easy for him to do in the middle because it's all the same across the middle. It's pretty much, and check that the guide fits under the body shell still, and it's pretty much there.
You're absolutely correct, except for the part that you says that makes it easy. Maybe it makes it easy for a rocket scientist, but not for me.
Mm.
I don't know. To make a mistake, okay? You know what I mean?
Well, Garth, you've literally started this whole project from the ground up. You started with your wheels, and now the chassis. Next are bodies for you.
Well, yeah, but I'm chassis. I will spend a lot of time on chassis because
Oh, you forgot about the guides, John.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, sorry, you're absolutely right. I forgot about the guides. That's right. Yes, excellent.
Yeah, that one's got the Tiger Shark guide, and interesting enough, we have three of the Outlaw guides on the Jaded Parts website, and I think it's the only one that actually sold. Okay, is the and unfortunately, it's the one that I'm really not responsible for the design. It's Jeremy's design. So he constantly reminds me of that too.
Have you tried to print your weighted guide yet?
Oh yeah, there's versions of it, so.
Yeah, I had some versions of it made, and it's just the technology is not quite ready for it. Like the walls just get too thin, and then it starts to split. So it's just not feasible right now.
Yeah, and the other part of the weighted guide is like Jim Rose said, and Dennis said, they're illegal
in some racing. Yeah.
So.
Cool. I'm just gonna share something.
They're legal everywhere. They're not.
None of the guides that are on the Jaded Parts website, which include two kind of Scalextrics, a Pioneer guide, a new Carrera guide that Jeremy designed, and then 3 slot-it ones that are Outlaw guides, and none of them are illegal as far as we know. Everything's legal on them. So.
Cool. So while we're still on show and tell, I just wanted to show something quickly for those who are participating in my little Scale Car Garage 356 challenge. Here are all the parts. all ready for packaging and shipping, so they should be out by the end of the week. Thanks to my wife for the, for the organization here, but there we go. And believe it or not, these are seconds. I don't know if anybody's interested in buying some seconds.
Of course.
They're just not, yeah, they're just not up to snuff. They, for some reason, but yeah, and then some other bits. But so there you go. So we're on our way, and I will of course announce when they actually do ship, but they will be out by the end of the week. So I guess that brings us to Club Corner. I don't know if anyone has anything to report for. Oh, Mr. Rose, Mr. Big Den. Yes, okay, Mr. Rose, by all means, please begin.
Well, the first thing I want to do is I like Garth's product, and what Garth's product reminds me of is a Lotus Europa chassis.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's right. Only the Europa used to rust.
Well, not this one. This is in Spider reproduction, but
okay.
it splits in the back, and that's where the motor sits, and then the front is that T which holds the front axle and all the steering stuff. So I mean, it's eerily similar.
Well, and then don't forget that was also used for the Lotus 30, and then the Lotus 30 plus 10 more mistakes, the 40.
Yeah, on the Elan too. It was, the motor was in the front as opposed to the back, but they're very similar with the backbone chassis. So it's great minds think alike. So anyway, Colin Chapman and Garth. But for Club Corner, we announced this at our race Saturday. And so this is a brand new event for us. It's the RevoSlot Western States, the showdown at Motown, which is Motown Raceway in Modesto, California, first weekend in June. So hopefully Dennis and some of the other guys will come up from Southern California, and maybe some of the racers up from the Pacific Northwest can come down.
Cool.
So looking for a big event, 3 days. BRM IROC, which Alan is bringing down on Friday night, or we haven't set on the times just yet. GT2 will be the feature race, and there will be an additional race on Sunday with the Group 2 sedans. So it's 3 kind of standalone events, or stay the whole weekend, or do whatever you want to. So for us, this is a big deal. We've been working on this between Alan and Motown for about two months to get this to happen, but it looks like it's going to happen, and we're really happy and looking forward to trying to pull this thing off.
Cool.
So Jerry's here too. Jerry can come to that race. Come to it.
That is really cool. Well, thanks. And by the way, excellent photography as usual, Jim.
Well, that's just a picture I pulled off of RevoSlot's website. So.
Oh, I thought it was yours. It was so.
I don't
good.
have 3 Corvettes.
Okay, you don't. Come on.
We have people in our club that have 3 real Corvettes, but we don't have 3 RevoSlot Corvettes.
Very cool. Well, Big Den, how are things going down under?
Well, a lot better than when I was talking to you last week. With a certain member of the group here. Yes, recovering well by the look of him. Just a little circle back as often. Mike, I'd say to you, don't be too despondent about your fly Williams. I've had this FW07 for quite a while with the the angled motor setup. It's very easy to disconnect the tie rod from the steering and lock the wheels straight ahead. Just do a little bit of reinforcing on the wishbones and things so that they stay in place. And this has probably been, when I've been heading down to Hobart racing with those guys over the years, this has been my most successful car. I actually ran 2 third places against the guys down there in a 7 race series. And I don't think I raced, I think I probably only raced about 4 times out of the 7, but it particularly good on the shorter tracks. Runs out of puff a bit on the longer tracks down there. It's probably 3 or 4 years since I raced it down there. One of the big advantages of it is because of the complexity of the gear train. It is very hard it's very time consuming to take motors out and put them back in for testing if you're looking for a quicker motor. So I find that to be that's the pain about it as far as is the complexity of, and you've got to get everything right and just matched up in that gear train at the back, which is one of the reasons when we were talking earlier about the chat Proxy, I'd be shying away from those polycar type setups because of the complexity of them too. If things go wrong, I'd hate to be a proxy host trying to fix up those complex gearbox arrangements. As Greg would say, anywho, we'll go on to a screen share. And we did have some racing for our first event for 2024 at our local track, which should be coming up shortly, I hope. Yep, and there's just a it's in the suburb called Lagana, so we've called the track Lagana Seca for obvious reasons. Couldn't think of anything smarter. And we started off the night, if I could find something you just tell me. Okay, started off with Class 2 Revos, which have become like a bit of a chat staple with Jim's group and the NorCal group and our group racing them. We actually had 7 races to start the year, which was probably as good as what we've had for most times through 2023. So that was a pleasing start to the year. I didn't start off very well. I literally the wheel fell off after about 6 laps, so I had to stop and retighten the wheel. Consequently, the results in Heat 1 weren't all that flattering, but I got it going reasonably well in the last 2. But so on to the next group, which was Sideways Group 5. Our host's father, Peter, had a new Lancia Stratos, and it was quite quick, and he managed to take a good win there, Peter. So my wheels didn't fall off. I just had worse things happen in this race. I had tire. I started off with a car with tires that were just absolutely hopeless, and when I changed to my little Escort, as you can see, towards the back of the grid, well, not towards the back of the grid, at the rear of the field in the finishing order. I put it back on the track, and then I found I was getting no power. And when I tried to change controllers, and then I looked underneath the car, and one of the braids was curled up at about 75 degrees. So that obviously wasn't helping for the power pickup. So I managed to run stone motherless last there, although I was a little bit happier that that my it's a difficult car to get going, the little Escort, because it's such a narrow wheel track, and you've got to put it in close so you don't foul the guard. So anyway, I got it going a little bit better, and we finished the night with Revo GT2. Happiest story for me here. There's my new little Mizuno Porsche in the middle of the picture, and I just it was a fairly tight racing here. So there was Dave managed to ace me by a lap with Peter barking at my heels for 3rd place. So as I said, an enjoyable night, and may there be many more in 2024. We're on again this coming Friday night, and pardon me, I think we're running slotted DTM, and I'm not sure which class is going out the door. I think it might be Sideways Group 5. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll stop the share, and someone else can step in.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's great.
Dennis?
Michael's showing. There you go.
Here's what I did with that. With the FW07, I've got a Polycar drivetrain in that, and adapted it to it. And then in the back, it's mounted with, I don't know if you can see, but there's 2 grub screws right in there that are body mounts.
Yeah.
So, yep, I already did that one. The 08 is a little bit more of a difficulty, though, because the front end is really bad on that. The front end on the SCX wasn't terrible, but the Fly one is just impossible.
Wow, cool. Well, that looks good, Michael. Thank you, Mario.
Yeah,
oh, sorry. I was gonna say, Mario, your club corner, sir. Yes, yeah, please unmute.
Well, my
Uh-oh. There you are.
is it still muted? Okay. This just came in today. This is the Avant slot Nissan 240.
Nice.
I wanted to ask a question. Does anyone have this particular car? Because I noticed once I took it out of the box and threw it on the track, the gear mesh on this was really, really tight and rough. Has anyone had that same experience with this particular car or brand?
With the brand, yes.
The Avant slot?
That I don't know how to fix it, but yeah, a couple of advanced slots that I've got, the gears have always been very noisy. They're worse than the Revos even. The plastic's very hard.
Yeah,
Maybe a
that's
little
what I
bit of
noticed.
grinding paste or a little bit of toothpaste or something like that and break them in a bit.
Yeah, I thought about doing a whole rebuild on the rear end and changing it out. So I just want to know if anyone else had that same issue when they got the car.
Well, I guess you could just slide a slotted inline gear in there and leave the pinion, see what it does, because it'll be a little softer plastic.
Yeah, but it's a great looking car.
Yeah, they're very pretty.
I liked it a lot. So yeah, I just wanted to share that real quick.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Mario. Lenny, some Club Corner perhaps?
Yes, sir. Hang on a minute. Oh, no, that one. Where is it gone? All right, let's try this.
You're sharing.
Okay, so
it's there we go. Oh wait, actually, it's sharing your whole folder.
yeah, I'm just bringing up the picture. There we go. All right, so
no, you gotta bring up the picture first.
Yeah, you got to open the picture first, and then yeah. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, can you say that?
No. Nope. Well, we still see your folder. If you open the picture first and then choose that to share, then it'll work.
Okay.
Let me just stop your share here for a minute.
Yep. Okay. I think I'd know how to do this by now, wouldn't you?
That's okay. It gives everyone
so
a
open the
chance to
folder first.
Yeah. Open your photo first, and then share the photo. It'll be perfect.
Yep.
Everyone else have a snack.
Or have a Cape Millers.
There we go.
There we go. All right. So a few weeks back, just before Christmas, we had our annual presentation for the group, the races at Spitfire, and we always run a want races, one for the ladies, for the lads' partners and wives, and we run these. They're a mix of wants and bumpers with Corvette bodies on them, so they take a fair bit of pounding. They get crashed a fair bit. So we ran a race. We basically just ran 2-minute races and aggregate scores at the end. Den's going to love this. Guess who won the boys' race?
Ooh.
Big Den's watching. It's our young hotshot Andrew.
Oh,
and yes, it is a soccer trophy that he's holding.
Yeah, we're still in the same first photo there, Lenny, for some reason.
Are those wonks?
Huh? Yeah. I'm trying to get rid of that. I don't know how to do it. I'll get rid of that one. Is that better?
No. Here, let me stop your share again, and then. No. Okay, try again. Sorry.
Okay, so get the photo up. Come on. And then I've lost my.
I know what it's like. The hamster powering my laptop is almost out of breath. I know how you feel.
I didn't give it enough Horlicks this morning.
There you go.
Can you see that?
It's coming up. It's coming up.
Right. So
There we go. Perfect. Yes.
Lovely. There's our winner of the boys' race, young Andrew. Big Den will be pleased to hear that, because I know how much Den is a fan of young Andrew. So, and yes, that's a soccer trophy he's holding. We always get inappropriate trophies for this race every year. Last year it was a cricket trophy, I think, or something like that. So just this the winners
I'd
of the
be
boys'
tempted
race.
to say that cricket trophies are always irrelevant when it comes to Australians, right?
Lenny, I'll have to send you some. I'll have to send you some hockey trophies. That'll screw everybody up.
Yeah. Yeah, I got these for about $2.50 at the back of the trophy shop we go and get stuff from. So I can't work it out to get to the next photo.
Can you switch? Will it go to the next photo or not?
No, there's not.
This is turning into a farce.
Oh,
there we go.
We got it. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's the winner of the ladies' race, and you'll never guess what. That's Andrew's partner, Macy. So,
oh no way!
Yeah, so she won the ladies' race, and then I'll try and get on to some of the other stuff. Where are we? Okay, so we ran a couple of mini series this year. One of them. See what happens when I bring that up. It's not letting me scroll over for some reason.
Oh.
So I'm having to do it this way. Can you see that one?
No, sir.
Okay. Maybe I'll just give up on it.
Oh.
Anyway, we had our annual dinner, that annual lunch, and we presented the trophies to everybody. And Jason, one of our regulars, he managed to win our two mini series races. We ran one for V8 supercars, and he cleaned up on that one. And then we ran a handicap series with 4 different classes over the last half of the season, and he managed to win that. So I'll try and get the main trophy photos up. I don't know why. Hang on, let me try something.
Go for it. Go for it. It's got to work.
Yeah. I hate Bill Gates, by the way. I really dislike the man.
Maybe sometimes it's just the user.
Yeah, probably is, mate. Probably is. I wasn't born at the beginning of the turn of the century, unfortunately, so I don't really know how to fly this stuff.
It's what they call an interface problem. It's the interface between the chair and the keyboard that's giving the trouble.
Yeah, it's a digital problem. Digital interface is blowing up. Okay, so there's Jason. Can you see that?
It's coming up. It's coming up. Here we. Oh no, we've got your.
There we go. We're back to here again. All right. Yep. What I'll do is I'll.
You can see all the photos. Anyway. So if you just point to the correct one.
Yeah, it won't open on the shared screen though. That's the problem.
Okay, mate. I'll give up on it then. Anyway, Jason won those two, and then I'll go back and practice this at some stage. It's not working for some reason.
No worries.
Yeah. So Andrew and Jason also finished third in the point series that we ran through the year, and I finished second. And then young Andrew took out the points by a long margin. He didn't even have to turn up for the last round, but he did. And I'll just try and get one more photo up. This one's probably the most important photo.
Yeah, sorry, my wife just got here. No, yeah, just open the photo up first and share the open photo, and it'll work. Yeah, I know. My hand gestures are awful. I know. Thanks.
Yeah, no, sorry. I now worked out what I'm doing wrong. But I had that on the main screen rather than the second screen.
Ah, gotcha.
Screen. That one. Share.
2 screens.
Yeah.
All this
got the second screen and the laptop connected up.
Oh, there's an unexpected winner. Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm the receiver.
Oh, you are?
That's my
Oh,
wife. That's the
sorry.
most important person at the raceway. She looks after us so well, and she got the honour of presenting me with my trophy. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So yeah, my wife Heather is fantastic. She supports everything I do out there in the shed, and bungs on coffee and teas, and cleans up a lot of the area. Make sure the tables are all nice and clean while I'm cleaning the track. And so she's worth $1 million to me, or more.
Oh, that's a keeper for sure.
Yeah, she's worth Brazilians. She'll get that. I think she's watching in the other room. But anyway, I'll go back to the other one. So there's Andrew. Right, I've got it sorted now. I was getting confused. There's young Andrew, and with his first place trophy, and followed by this individual trying to look smart with his trophy.
What is that a Spitfire there or a Hurricane?
Yeah, it is. I'll go get my trophy shade. Hang on.
Spitfire Raceway.
Oh, of course. Yeah, right. Who wants Hurricane Raceway when you can fly a Spitfire? You're absolutely right. Sorry, John. Yep. The Rolls Royce.
Once I finish the share, I'll get back to it. There's Jason with his handicap score certificate. We only gives you certificates of that sort of thing. So that's a laminated certificate.
You're looking very official there, Lenny.
I think I was starting to nod off. Looks like I've got my eyes closed. There he is with his V8 supercar certificate. And there's Andrew again with his. Anyway, that's the end of that. I'll stop the share now and I'll just show you the photo up to the one of the trophies up close. Right. Let me get rid of this photo. So it looks backwards to me, but
no, it's perfect. It's perfect for us. It's perfect for us.
Yeah, so that's my second place trophy.
Nice.
Yeah, those are cool.
So yeah, that's glass too, by the way.
Wow.
Like one of our my local trophy person makes it. So you email the photo in. That photo is courtesy of Jason, who sent it to me a little while back. And they just print all that on the glass, and away you go. So that's our point score series for the year. And all that comes out of the entry fees and stuff like that. So we've always got a little bit of surplus from the entry fees. So yeah. So we're looking forward to a new season. We're running with our old rules until season 2, and then we swing over to the new rules with the new classes that are coming in. So
nice.
So we're bringing in Polycar Classic Formula 1, the Group A. What was the other one? Oh, the River Slot under 2 litres. Going to bring that in as a separate class as well. So it's going to be a busy year for us.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lenny.
No worries. Thank you.
Mr. Sampson, what have you got to share for us, sir?
Well, today, Jim was saying earlier on that he was showing his 1-to-1 scale backbone chassis, like Garth's 1/32 scale. So I figured I'd just show you this, which was a 1/24 scale backbone chassis that I did a couple of years back. I made a bunch of these. You'll see it better from the underneath like that, where the only pieces that really connect the rear end of the car to the front end are these pieces of wire that run right down the middle and then split around the back of the motor. In those days, I was still using quite a large piece of brass up the front to keep some weight on the front of the car, rather than Garth's little bits of lead in the front of his in 1/32 scale. And of course, the bodies on 1/24 scales mount from the side, so you needed something along the edge. But that was an experiment that actually turned really quite successful. I built quite a few of those, and they were very, very nice driving cars. So I just thought I'd show that.
Nice, beautiful work.
That was the body that was on it at the time. Yeah.
Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Did you paint the body as well, Dennis?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, these, Lexan bodies are easy because you do it all on the inside, so you always get a really nice shine on the outside. Although on this one, all of the lettering and the numbers and the little starbursts are on the outside by hand.
Well, it looks like you did the panel lines as well on the inside.
And I did the panel lines on the outside. I have a little ink pen that I use with some paint. It's like a drafting pen with the adjustable blade that you can adjust the thickness. And yeah, so that was in the days when I had a little bit more patience and I used to make them look really pretty.
Well, I see you put your name on the car, but Chris Amon's helmet, right?
Correct. It's a Ferrari. So,
there you go.
And his helmet is a little bit more interesting than, and it's not really Chris Amon's helmet.
Oh, is that not James Garner from Grand Prix?
Yeah, that's the James Garner
That's
helmet.
the one. Okay, okay, yeah.
The red is on the right instead of
That's
the blue.
right, yes. So it's Pete Aaron.
Pete Aaron's helmet, yeah.
There you go.
Pete Aaron's helmet. It's a little more interesting than a Bruce McLaren helmet would be, or who's, the guy that, or a Gurney helmet, which is kind of plain. I do a couple of different helmets now, or I did in those days. Nowadays, I just paint them orange and I'm done.
Well, you even put a matte finish on the passenger seat.
Yeah, the whole interior, I sprayed the whole interior. It's a white styrene vacuum forming, and then I'd spray the whole thing matte black, and then paint the rest on the driver. Is that's all done with acrylics so that it's matte, and then the helmet's done with enamel to get it gloss, and then matte black around the edges of the intake trumpets, and then I use one of those Molotow chrome pens to pick out the detail of the trumpets.
Well, that's why we're making you the honorary Grand Marshal for the Worldwide Slot Car Chat Proxy race, which means you can't participate. Sorry.
Anyway, that's me for today. I don't really have much else apart from to say I'm really pleased to see Phil on the chat, and I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, no, he was up. Yeah,
he was hanging in there really well for a while. He's not on.
No, he's had
on.
I figured that he was probably being either fed or given a blanket bath in the.
He's having a sponge bath. It's in the chat. Okay,
yeah.
Let's just leave it where it is.
A couple of these gorgeous nurses are giving him a sponge bath.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's got to be an upside to what he's going through, right?
Yeah, well, I'm really pleased to see that he's still with us.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Den. And Big Den now. Oh my gosh. A follow-up, I hope, sir.
Yeah, a follow-up. Yeah, I think Phil went back for seconds with sponge bath.
The best I ever did in hospital was sponge cake.
Yeah.
Oh,
just Mario was commenting earlier about the gear on the advanced slot Datsun 240. I don't have that particular car, but like Dennis suggested, I do have a couple of advanced slot. Probably a bit hard to see there. This one is the presentation Crema Porsche thing, and it comes with an inline chassis as standard because the back deck is too low to have an angle winder in it. But I've got a slotted gear in that, and it runs like smooth as butter. And I've also got the Mirage that I got recently. It's the angle winder chassis, but I've put an inline pod in it, and that's actually got a Ninko NC5 motor at the moment, just for until I get it, that handling working. But again, I've changed to a slotted crown gear, and they work fine. So a simple fix if you're having trouble with the advanced slot gears. And that'll do me.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much.
And Mario says thanks very much, but he's on mute, so it didn't come through. I was watching Mario's I was watching his avatar, and I could see his mouth moving. But Phil has returned.
Phil's back. Oh, see, I told you, he looks all nice and clean. He had a sponge bath. There you go.
Yeah.
Two gorgeous nurses.
Yeah, both named Bob.
Did you notice Brian is here? We've got some news for Brian.
Let's see.
Oh, Brian, yes, Brian. Oh my gosh. Should we circle back and see if we can corral him into some something or no? Or is that
Sorry about that. I had a house guest, so I had to kind of jump out. I just came down for a smoke break after dinner and jumped in and then had to jump back out.
Oh,
what did
okay,
you guys volunteer me to do?
40
Well, we were talking-
3D printed chassis and bodies and motor pods.
Oh, that's it, huh?
Is there a reason why I can only see?
But we can make more.
Is there a reason why I can only see one person at a time?
I have the same
Open
thing.
the other eye. Open the other eye.
Up in the top right, hit view gallery. You're on speaker mode right now. There's like a little.
Oh yes, I am. I don't know how I changed that. Thank you.
Thank goodness for Jeremy, our IT help person. Oh my gosh. That's
John, you
awesome.
need to explain to Brian what's going on.
Oh, sorry, Brian. Yes, at the beginning of our of this episode, we were talking about the possibility of a worldwide slot car chat proxy, and we were thinking about and we were thinking about the type of vehicle to have in the proxy, and of course, your designs were put forth almost immediately as a very viable possibility for our.
I'm going to have a word with Jeremy about that, I think. I remember him saying, yeah, maybe Garth and I or Brian could come up with something. So you're on the hook there, Jeremy.
I assure you, I'm not on the hook. You're on the hook.
Hey, welcome to my world, son.
Yeah, they've been casting about.
Very funny. I got
Took
it.
you a while, John. Took you a while.
The way I looked at it, I thought John already had 10 356 kits all ready to go. I thought we were done.
Well, they're ready to go. Yeah, it's just it's a possibility. But again, we were just talking about your either your single seater design or the design that kind of looks like the Renault. Remember the Renault Can-Am racer that they had a few years ago?
No.
Okay, well, you have a closed wheel design and an open wheel design that looked really, really good. So that's what we were discussing.
You mean the 50s GP style thing I did?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, that could be interesting because that's a solid chassis with a FF50 in it. 3 foot. I would have to rework the front end onto that a little bit, but that would be easy enough.
Simple and cheap.
What did you call me? I'm not disputing it. I'm just surprised.
No, I think those are attributes for whatever we do for this proxy.
Well, that and John, to your point, something unique, something that hasn't really been done before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's see.
Oh, there he is. Oh, hang on. May I spotlight you, sir?
You may.
Thank you. Okay, you're on.
I have the same issue that Wayne was having. I either see one of you or I see all of you. I'm on a tablet, which I don't use very often, and it's really kind of weird. Let's see. I can't see what I'm.
Left-hand side.
Okay, yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. Well, there's two versions of that. One that I did because I never put a driver in this. It's the one I did for my granddaughter. You see, it's a very simple. Now it's got a magnet in it, but that comes out easy enough. And actually, if I take the magnet out, I can move that motor back a little bit, probably make it a little more, non-mag friendly. That's simple. And then I did another version. It's basically the same thing, but it's got a canopy on it.
Yeah, I like the opportunity of putting a driver in there. I think it would look so cool.
So, let's see. I'll tell you what, with a magnet and this little FF50, these were these cheap Chinese ones I bought. It goes pretty good. And actually, I think the blue one's got a Predator in it. That car weighs 54 grams.
Wow.
So you take the magnet out, that's probably another 2 or 3 or at least a couple grams coming out of that.
Right.
So we want a very slow spec motor then.
No, actually, because they go quite well. This is a tiny car. It's still got a. Figures I left my damn glasses upstairs, but it's the wheelbase on that is about 74 millimeters, 73 millimeters. The track on it right now, and it can definitely go wider, is with these tires is about 46 millimeter. So an 18,000 RPM motor net would probably go quite well.
So what would it take for us to have a number of those?
Brian, say cold hard cash, Brian. Say cold hard cash.
No. We discussed the possibility of actually being able to print, because we've got people in the Australias, we've got people in the UK who might want to join in. Instead of you printing them all and shipping them, would it be a good idea to send an STL that we can get printed locally?
Oh yeah, I think I may have already made this file public. If not, that's easy enough because it's all in Tinkercad. Now, if we decide we want to go this route, let me rework it. If you want, we can make this a little bigger. We can make the wheelbase a little longer. I mean, I forget what I based this off of size-wise. I think it was a model I got from Steve or something. What is it, a Gordini or something that I had that I just kind of winged it from the. Oh no, actually, where this originally came from, the idea was from. I found a model that was like, it was I want to say it was a Fiat car from the 50s GP style that the guy reimagined if it was a modern car. So that was kind of the whole thought behind this, was kind of, if you had to design a looking 50 GPs looking car today, what would it look like? And that
that reminds me of the Gordon Murray Rocket a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I've actually started playing with a larger version of this, where actually the rear wheels are cut into the side of the body and stuff. So I mean, it's certainly doable. I mean, but I would want to redo the chassis, because we're going to race it non-mag and getting that motor back a little further. But see, the front end on this just kind of, the only thing in it is there's a piece of PFE tubing between the two uprights where the axle goes through that keeps it moving from side to side. It has some upward, up and down movement to it. You see on this blue one, it wobbles.
Oh, crikey.
See, that's floating. On this one, I don't know. I have to look at it. It's not nearly as severe. I mean, I'm rocking that just as hard. So I said there's some minor tweaks I would want to do to it. I mean, we're not talking days or weeks worth of works. We're talking, a couple hours, maybe tops. So. Yeah.
So the proposal at the moment is that we go out and have a look around the market and see whether there's anything that really appeals to us that's similar to that, insofar as it's either an oldie worldy open wheel or a modern day F1600, F2000 style car. We'd like something open wheeled, cigar shaped effectively, and that's why one of the proposals was that what you're showing us now.
Okay.
Well, also because Brian, what you've created, no one else has, and there's a lot of appeal to that.
Okay, and I think you guys could probably afford me.
Well, if not, we'll pool our money and we'll go and sell some cookies or something. We'll do something. We'll make it happen.
Cookies might just do it, to be honest with you.
Otherwise, we just sell John.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Good luck. Hey, talk to my wife. Good luck with that.
Well, we were thinking $495 for the chassis and everything shipped, so no problem with money.
You still talking about selling me?
Now, I got to be honest with you. The cost of printing the chassis, my machine will tell me, and I bet you it's under $1 to print that chassis. It's probably more like 50 cents, wouldn't you say?
And that's printed out of what? Is it printed resin, or is it filament?
The PLA Plus. And I actually have a new PLA called PLA Tough, which seems quite good. I've been doing experimenting.
I'm gonna pin you again, Brian, so we can see what you're showing us. Here we go.
Oh, that looks pretty nice.
Very clean looking.
Very.
Yeah, it does pretty good. Oh, is this it? There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. This is a baby blue. Now this is a version of my torsion bar chassis without the torsion bar. What I was doing is I was cleaning up the chassis. That one, you know, I've been piecing it together and moving things around. So in the drawing, you see all kinds of funky lines. So it was a matter of just trying to clean it up
Yeah,
a little bit.
really good.
And again, Dennis, I don't know if you ever saw this. This was the concept behind this one. There is nothing at the back. Yeah, see the pod. Actually,
Yeah, I did see it. I remember.
Yeah. This would be a fine for chassis. I mean, it's great. It's a little stronger than the normal PLA. It prints really nice. They're flat. This one happens to be a Sidewinder, but I have these in inline versions as well. And now this is an 84 millimeter chassis, so, or wheelbase, if I'm not mistaken. This one's set up, I actually set it up where I'm using, no, I'm sorry, this is 75 millimeter or 76 roughly. This one's set up where I use 2 millimeter brass axle spacers in the front for bearings. And then I have set screws top and bottom. So it locks that front end down where there's absolutely no slop.
We lost him. Come back, Brian. Come back.
I'm coming. So there's what the Sidewinder looks like finished.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Looks
Yeah,
good.
nice.
Looks very
This
good.
car, without a body on it, is the fastest thing on my track. It'll turn. My son and I both broke 6.4 seconds on our track with this. And my fastest cars, now granted, it's with a body. My fastest cars, their fast laps on super clean tires are in the 6.6, 6.7 range.
Wow.
So, man, I'd love to throw. I wish I knew somebody who had a bunch of 132nd Lexan bodies, because I'd love to throw this Lexan body on this. It would be a beast. So,
Yeah, Brian, do you have my email address?
I do not. You know Dennis, who
it's-
has a whole bunch of 132nd scale Lexan bodies, perhaps?
I have a whole bunch of 132nd scale Lexan bodies.
Yeah, I was looking at Electric Dreams, and they only got like 3 of them
No.
out.
I've got more than Electric Dreams has.
Electric Dreams gets them off him.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great way to oh, look at the time. That's a great way to end it on what we started. So we will just sort of go away, think about this sort of concept. I think it's a great idea. And with that, we will say goodbye.
Hang on, you're not switching off, are you? Because I can still.
Oh no,
No,
I'm about, go ahead.
stop.
Yes, sorry, Dennis, did you have something to contribute? I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to be sure that if I send my email address to Brian on the chat,
it'll be in the chat for sure, no problem.
Yeah, I've just done that, Brian. So write it down.
Thank you.
We just need to end the stream.
That's right. Yeah. So I just want to say bye. We'll see you next